Today's
Hi, and welcome to the Unknown Secrets of Internet Marketing. I missed something.
Did you?
Yeah, it's the Internet Market Unknown Secrets of SEO. I don't know. Anyway, welcome to the most popular SEO podcast on iTunes.
What
It's
kind of
the
day this is gonna be?
first podcast of the new year, and no indication of how the rest are going to be. As always, we talk a number of things. First off, if you're at some sort of computing device where you have a mobile phone, and most of us are geeks, so we know you do, get on Twitter and just say that you are actually listening. Just say,
You're listening to hashtag SEO Podcast 132.
Yep.
Tag us, that's at eWebstyle, so we'll know you did it. We'll retweet you, give you some link love, and all that there. So do that for us.
And if you want to be particularly annoying, do that at 2 a.m., because that does get forwarded to my cell phone, and I get a, whatever
You still
noise.
got those activated?
Yeah, I
just
guess.
turned those off.
Maybe I should. Remember, we are your friendly local neighborhood top position snatchers, where our mantra is,
Don't be a douche.
don't be a douche. As always, we have a tip from last podcast, and because this is the new year, as always, is not this time. No tip. Go back and listen. Go back and listen to our previous two podcasts.
As always, no tip, right? He didn't really mean that.
They were the 2011 SEO year in review.
Yeah.
I think it was fast. It was rapid fire. And listen to those. I grabbed a little bit of tech news because we got a lot to go through here.
Sponsored by WordPress.
WordPress, right there on the back of his Android phone. Speaking of Android, what a great segue. It's predicted that Android could actually grab 50% of the smartphone market this year.
I saw that.
There's a new power line adapter. I've never used these. I just thought it was cool, worth mentioning. They're the one that's plugged. They use your power lines in your house to get internet from one location to the other. So you have one in one spot where you've got your cable modem or whatever, and then one in another spot where you got a PC. And it actually
power, like into the
power. Yeah. So it filters, of course, out the dangerous power that might cause your PC to explode, I hope, and then allows that internet traffic to go through that there's a TCP/IP traffic to go through it. It's kind of cool. Anyway, they're now smaller. Apparently, they used to be really big, and now they're a lot smaller. And Toshiba is bringing out what they call the thinnest and lightest tablet. No name. Nobody knows anything about that. Except Toshiba and maybe that news source. All right, so we got Scott Bonner, who is a longtime listener, good time friend. I like that, good time friend.
Good time friend.
He actually has included our links in two sites. One of them is movingbusiness.net. And if you go to movingbusiness.net/resources, you'll see a link to us. That's really cool. We appreciate that, Scott. And the other one is training.movepoint.com/moving-company-resources. So basically, he's including what his company does is they sell software to moving companies, and I think that you can literally run your entire moving company on their software platform, including leads coming in from the website, sending out quotes, coordinating crew. I mean, it's the whole kit and caboodle package for moving companies. And he's included us. In fact, has given us a referral for some clients before. Thank you, Scott. And is now a client. Thank you, Scott. And has included us on references.
Thank you, Scott. Appreciate it.
All right, next, there's a cartoon on our Facebook page. You got to go check it. Nah, you don't have to go check it. You should. Because it's so good, I gotta read it. I gotta read it on air.
Oh, the Bart Simpson joke.
Yeah, you know how Bart Simpson writes on every episode at the beginning a different sentence.
Mm-hmm.
This one is, I will use Google before asking dumb questions.
Yeah, do that. Google it.
Yeah, just don't ask dumb questions. Somewhat of a pet peeve of mine. Here we go.
Dumb questions get dumb answers.
Well, so I have this. The only dumb question is the question that you already have the answer to, right? And so I get those from time to time where, the person who asked me actually knows the answer, and I kind of probe a little bit, and they realize they know the answer, and that's a little frustrating. I hope and expect of myself, which is why it's my pet peeve, because sometimes I don't do it, that, I think about things before I ask dumb questions. There you go. Or Google it. In fact, some of my advice now to good friends, instead of actually fixing problems for them, is here's the Google phrase I recommend you use. Because we may be a little bit better at searching, right? Other people might be flailing in the dark, and we can be kind of laser targeted. Reviews. We got a ton of reviews over the holidays.
Let's get it. Reviews make me happy.
Hey, speaking of the holidays, you had some pretty exciting stuff happen over the holidays. You had an album release over the holidays.
Yeah, dropped the project. Appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Three. So if you're into gospel music and Christian music and you like rap, go check it out. PoeticProphet.com. Hit me up. Tell me what you think about it. Appreciate it.
I'm not into gospel or Christian music, and I've listened to it, and I am into rap, and it's good rap. So really cool. Go check that out. Very cool. So back to our reviews. We got reviews of our podcast over the holidays. I love the title of this. I actually used just the title in my networking group on Tuesday. Splendiferous.
Splendiferous.
Yeah.
Okay,
from Tim Collin.
Splendid, different, and marvelous, maybe?
There you go. I like it. I like it. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, I was thinking Splenda, which I put in my coffee. I think Splendid is probably a little better and more accurate. This is my favorite podcast. I enjoy their clever banter. They bring good news, updates, and they deliver terrific SEO tips. Here's a big punch in the face, and in parentheses, that's a good thing, right? Yes, Tim.
Punch in the face is great.
Boom. Only if it knocks you out.
I bet, is that Tim Bar Smith probably?
Nope.
Okay, not him. Well, shout out to Tim Bar Smith. Hit us up on Twitter. That's TIMBARR Smith. So follow him. He's a podcast listener.
Here's another one. Thanks. This is from Downtime Scuba. We actually did
a review on
a webinar on him. It says, many thanks. I knew nothing about SEO, but I did know nobody was finding my website. I found and began listening to these podcasts, and I have learned so much that I will be incorporating into my website design. Thank you so much, Downtime Scuba. What was Gary? Yeah. Thank you, Gary.
Yeah, appreciate it, man. Thank you for submitting the webinar. Hopefully we, told you something that worked for you. And, if you need help, man, reach out to us.
By the way, Gary needs help with his downtimescuba.com. It's kind of a hobby/business, which his wife may be shutting down if he doesn't generate some more revenue.
Yeah.
So go check out Downtime Scuba. That's in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. Here's another one titled, Really Enjoy the Show by Dusty7969. I look forward to the show each week. Very informative. I miss it when it isn't on.
Sorry about that.
Yeah.
Sometimes schedules prohibit us from being able to bring you this infotainment. But thank you for tuning in, Dusty.
Oh, excuse me. Splendiferous infotainment. But appreciate you tuning in, man. Punch in the face. And hit us up, man. Hit us up on Twitter at eWebStyle. Send me a link to your sites or whatever you're working on. I'd like to check it out. Absolutely. And the final one for today, title, Great Info by CEO Roxy. We could probably Google that and figure out who that is. Roxy is a person of few words and one exclamation mark. Thanks.
It's all right. She gave us 5 stars.
Yeah, 5 stars on all of those. So, woohoo! Punch in the face to everybody who's given us a review. Please, if you get any valuable information from this, go on to iTunes, create an account, submit a review, let us know.
3 steps, 3 minutes. Let me shout out to some Twitter followers. I did Tim Bar Smith. Shout out. Punch in the face to K Simmons 21. Appreciate you following, man, and tuning in. Hopefully you tuning in right now. And Inheritance_ADE told us Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Happy New Year to everyone out there, too. Have we decided what the opposite of a punch in the face is for us? Like
a kick in the shins.
Kick in the shins. Yeah. Oh! I've got a little bit of news before we jump into a ton of content here. I've got a little bit. I went to Search Engine Land, and they talked about some changes that Google has made recently. They've done some image search improvements. They're improving quality signal, spam detection. I thought that was all thrilling. We don't do much with images.
They did like 30. It was 30 algorithm changes in December.
Yep.
Yeah.
And some of them were image related. It's funny because in the article they talk about getting better at figuring out the byline date. So when was the actual article submitted, if it were a blog post or whatever, and then proceeds to highlight 2 specific areas where it's caught a current date for a post that's a number of years older.
Well, what I do like though about in regards to the image updates is that they are proactively trying to display higher res, better images first.
Interesting, yeah.
And so, I tend to do a lot of image searches, working on different stuff, and you hate finding a nice image and
low quality.
Low quality.
Like,
exactly.
What is that?
Yeah, so appreciate it.
Can't make that any bigger. And then other Google changes. The Google says it's doing a better job of determining where web documents are from, so that country restricted search results are more accurate. I don't know if he means country restricted or just country focused. It may be country restricted because, as we know, there are some countries on the planet that restrict stuff. Google says it's improved what it calls soft 404 detection, which is when website servers are configured to send the wrong response code to Google Spider. I don't even know why they would be configured to do that. And there are 2 changes mentioned in the topic of related queries, including one that makes the algorithm more conservative and less likely to introduce results without query words. How do you get a result without a query word? Don't you
get we're probably related searches.
Interesting.
So
Wow.
you search for something and then you change your search query, but it's still related to the previous search query. Then they'll show you similar results, although you omitted that particular key phrase.
And that was by Matt McGee, again, over at Search Engine Land. Go check that out. They also did an interesting article, their second article of the day. Nicholas! Their second article of the day was about Santorum and how he's actually not doing a good job of trying to get anybody who doesn't know. There was apparently some beef, and I'm loath to even use that word.
I know, right?
There was some beef between Rick Santorum and somebody. Apparently, Rick is like laserly focused anti-gay, and so some gay activist has actually. Just Google Santorum, and the first entry that's, it's not Wikipedia, I thought it was, but the first entry is...
spreading Santorum.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's
gross.
It's a crazy definition.
And so that would be a definition that Santorum should be working very diligently to get off of the first page, and we could actually help them with that. It really shouldn't be that hard, but apparently, well, they're doing some of the wrong things. They're focusing some of their pages now on... just a form to submit donations.
Yeah, they're doing other stuff, trying to get money.
Right.
That's not a concern to them, is what I kind of gathered from it. Rather than, focus energy on getting that page removed, they're trying to get their donation pages placed over it.
What they don't realize is we can do both. I mean, that's the balance that we that's the fine line we walk every day. How do we get what we want in search results and make sure that we're motivating and activating the clients that are visiting to the websites, the visitors?
What they don't realize is that, as gross as it is, Santorum, it sounds like it almost could have been accurate.
Who knows? Maybe it's true. All right, so we've got an article here. Did you have anything else before we jumped into?
No, just go ahead.
We've got an article here. It's called... Holiday Tales, 10 SEO Search Ranking Myths. And this is by Tola Ajayi. That's interesting because...
Ajayi?
That's interesting because at the end of it says about the author, learn more juiciness like this at www.dougberson.com.
Yeah.
That's odd.
Interesting.
Maybe that's his pen name, or he's chosen... what appears to be an Indian pen name, which is an odd choice. Anyway, 10 SEO search ranking myths. Apparently, we have a little beef with some of these, so I think this is going to be really good.
Discrepancy. I won't call it beef.
Yeah.
Beef's not the right word. This got discrepancy with some of these myths. The first myth was you should submit your URL to search engines. This may have helped once upon a time, but it's been at least 5 or 6 years since that's been necessary. I would co-sign to that. It's not mandatory that you submit, but I think just from following best practices.
Yeah, I was going to put that in the best practices check.
That's just one of the things we do. Submit it to the URL and get that done. Submit your sitemap and robot and all this other stuff.
And frankly, if you don't change content much on your website, when you do, you actually need to, because what happens is Google will visit your website less and less frequently to some maximum if it's not finding new content on your website. And then so if that time period is, say, a month, I don't know if they'll even go that far, but if it is a month, then you make a content change. If you did it the day after the Google monster visited your website, then it could be 30 days before the Google monster visits again.
Yeah, Google pirate monster.
Well, all monsters are pirates. So yeah, best practices it's we'll call that a kind of myth.
Number 2, you need a Google sitemap. If your site was built correctly, it's crawler friendly, you certainly don't need a Google sitemap. It won't hurt you to have one, and you may be interested in Google's other Webmaster Central tools, but having a Google sitemap isn't going to get you ranked better.
True.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not going to get you ranked better.
Yeah, I would co-sign to that. Again, I think it's just kind of best practices deal. Create your sitemap, help Google index your site better. And frankly, if you're going to do the sitemap, do an HTML version of the sitemap. Because I have ran into 2 people within the past month that actually click on the sitemap link at the bottom to find pages that they're looking for.
Yeah.
I don't ever do it, but apparently there are people who do. So.
All right, myth number 3. You need to update your site frequently. And here's the so frequent updates to your pages may increase the search engine crawl rate. That's what I was just talking about. Mm-hmm. If you don't update versus if you update regularly, what'll happen is if Google's on the month-long time frame and they visit and they've made a change, you've made a change, they may actually shorten they'll visit your website sooner, anticipating that you might be changing things more often. So it may increase the crawl rate, but it won't increase your rankings. If your site doesn't need to change, don't change it just because you think the search engines will like it better. They won't. In fact, some of the highest ranking sites in Google haven't been touched in years. I can co-sign to some of the highest ranking sites haven't been touched in years.
That's true. But I disagree with some of the other stuff he said in that same myth. I think that if you update your content and you're updating your content with more search engine friendly, relevant content over the course of time, if that content isn't spammy, and it will rank higher. I mean, it has to rank higher. It can't, continue to be lower ranked and on, not on page 1 if you're updating it with great content. So update your content, especially if you're in an industry that requires frequent updates, entertainment industries, or maybe some medical field where things are changing and you need to have the newest, most freshest content up. These stale sites that don't have content that has been touched in years, that content typically doesn't change. And so I think that's why it's okay for them to still rank high, because the content there is still relevant.
And probably that's also a situation where that's not a incredibly competitive keyword, is what I would guess. In fact, we wouldn't just say make changes to your content. Actually, make changes by adding content.
Yeah.
If you're going to make effort to do some rewriting, add content. Because, again, we always fall back to, are you providing a good experience to the Google user? And if you are, you're going to do well on Google. And people like to have content. People may not read it. There are some people who will, and Google knows that. That's the other reason Google likes lists, ULs, unnumbered lists, because people like bullet points. Unordered lists. There we go. Because people like to actually read those, and so Google knows that. So that's a value add right there. Add unordered lists to any of your pages.
Myth number 4. PPC ads will help/hurt rankings. This one is funny to me because about half the people who think that running Google AdWords will affect their organic rankings believe that they will bring them down. The other half believe they will bring them up. That alone should tell you that neither is true.
So the thought process.
Cosign.
Yeah. The thought process is, well, if I'm willing to pay Google for a pay-per-click ad, Google should bump my organic down so that I get the click on pay-per-click, not on organic. And then the counter to that is, hey, it's links. So there are actually links there.
Both of those are I totally co-sign with this for the simple fact that I've heard Matt Cutts say it. It's two separate algorithms going on here. Google AdWords has nothing to do with their organic ranking. Just nothing to do. Totally separate. Period. No effect either or on them. So what we tend to do in-house is we'll do both, frankly. Because,
we recommend both,
yeah, we'll start you off doing pay-per-click to get some immediate ROI, to get some return, and also gather some data for while we're optimizing the site, we can, better target which terms we need to go for. So, but they have no relation to each other.
All right, number 5. Your site will be banned if you ignore Google's guidelines. There's nothing in Google's Webmaster Guidelines that isn't common sense. But it's not mandatory in order to be an SEO. You can read them if you want. What do you think of that one?
I think that follow the guidelines.
You should be aware of them, right?
Yeah, if you're doing SEO, check them out at least once. And I kind of agree. It's common sense. Some of it is, some of it's not. There's some technical stuff in there. So
I think when you start talking about hidden content and ways to hide content, and versus like a CSS scrolling,
displaying something different to the Google bot than you're showing to the Google user.
Some of those things, to the novice may not even feel wrong. It may just be, if I want to achieve this, I just show them one thing and show my user something else, and it may not dawn on them that that's actually wrong. Against Google's guidelines. So I think you actually should, at a minimum, glance at it. Read the first sentence of every paragraph on it.
Because you can get banned, so I disagree. You can get banned if you ignore the guidelines.
Yep, absolutely.
See, myth number 6. Your site will be banned if you buy links. This one does have some roots in reality, as Google likes to scare people about this. They rightly don't want to count paid links as votes for a page if they can figure out that they're paid, but they often can't. If they figure it out, they simply won't count them. It's foolish for them to ban an entire site because they're advertising on other sites.
I think, I'll tell you what, my first impression here is he's missing the point on why Google can't really give much weight to it.
Yeah.
Because if I have a competitor, I could go out and buy a bunch of ads for their website, and then Google would ban them.
Mm-hmm.
Anytime you're in a situation where somebody else could negatively impact your website, Google has to ignore that. It can't take any. It can't
place any value on that.
So what they can do is ignore those links and not count them, but they can't penalize your website. They can't ban your website because, again, I could go buy. If I'm Rick Santorum, I could go out and buy all these ads for any of the other candidates and boom, knock them off of the front page. So and that's the key point that I think he missed.
And then I think, he was also talking about, I think he's getting into like link farms and things like that, which is just a practice you really shouldn't get into. But, some paid links are okay.
Here we go, number 7. H1 or any header tags must be used for high ranking. There's very little, if any, evidence to suggest that keywords and H tags actually affect ranking. Yet this myth continues to proliferate. His own tests seem to show that it makes no difference, although it's difficult to know for sure. How is it, if you've done tests, how is it difficult to know? I don't use H tags if it works with your design. How do you have an H tag that doesn't work with your design? You actually control it with CSS. I would have to disagree with this one.
I totally disagree. Yeah. I think headers have tremendous value in SEO. For not only for the Google bot, but for the Google user as well. For the Google bot, they let them know that whatever this next section of content I'm about to index is about this key phrase, and so I should really look for this key phrase, and depending on how often it's there, will determine how I should go into how I rank this page. From the user perspective, it's just like reading a newspaper. You need headings to understand what you're about to read. They help you scan the page to figure out if you're reading the right content, if you're on the right page. And so I totally disagree with myth number 7. H1s, H2s, all the way up through I'll say 4. I haven't seen too many H6s and anything. definitely provide value to the website.
Yeah, I think so. And in fact, if we take that back up to what I was saying about Google guidelines, at least read the header tags of the Google guidelines. And I bet there are header tags because Google finds them valuable.
Let's see, myth number 8. Words in your meta keyword tag have to be used on the page. I used to spread this silly myth myself many years ago. The truth is that meta keyword tag was actually designed to be used for keywords that were not already on the page, not the opposite. Since this tag is ignored by Google and used only for uncommon words in Yahoo, it makes little difference at this point anyway.
Cosign, yeah.
Yeah. That kind of goes to best practices. I'm doing on-page SEO. I'm already in the code because I'm editing the title. I might as well add my keywords and description.
It's kind of a good place to make a note to yourself of what keywords you're actually targeting on targeting on that page. So if there's any doubt, you just pull up your own meta keywords and you're okay, this is
targeting on this page. This
is why this page isn't ranking. I'm targeting the wrong keywords. All right, number 9, SEO copy must be 250 words in length. This one is interesting to me because I am actually the one who made up the 250 number back in the late 90s. However, I never said that 250 was the exact number of words you should use, nor did I say it was an optimum number. It's simply a good number to be able to write a nice page of marketing copy that can be optimized for 3 to 5 phrases. Shorter copy ranks just as well as does longer copy. Use as many or as few words as you need in order to say what you need to say. I would.
It's a partial cosign. I mean, I understand. I think that more copy the better.
Yeah.
Right. 250 is a great, 2 to 3 good paragraphs, and so I think as a standard, it tend to works well for having the right keyword density, as he mentioned. I agree with that part.
Yeah.
Use as many words or as few words as you need to say what you had to say.
I would
the
go
more the better.
I would go another way and say use as many words and tweak your content until you're ranking where you want to rank. So if you put on 100 words and you've got your a decent 2.5 keyword density and you're not ranking well, then I'd be adding content.
Yeah.
More content is better. Again, also have an unnumbered list as well. So, all right. Myth number 10. That's probably really loud with the mic on the table.
Yeah, probably should be. Sorry about that. Blame him. Myth number 10, you need to optimize for the long tail. No, you don't. By their very nature, long tail phrases are uncompetitive, meaning that not many pages are using those words, and not that many people are searching for them in the engines. Because of this, ranking for long tail keywords is easy. Simply include them somewhere in a blog post or an article, and you'll rank for them. But that's not optimization.
It's not?
Yeah.
Right. I mean,
what is it then?
Our mantra is for the SEO process is keywords, keywords, keywords. That's part of the SEO process. So if you've just by identifying the long tail keywords, you are doing SEO. I promise you. Right? There are people who are not SEOers who can't do that very well. And there may be people who focus on pay-per-click who can do that well. And then the next thing is to actually include it in your content somewhere. That's SEO. That's like the definition of SEO. So,
and frankly, I disagree. You need to optimize for the long tail.
Yeah.
Long tail phrases, you're right, aren't that much more competitive, but they are definitely more qualified, and they bring a better user, more qualified potential client to your site. Long tail phrases usually attract people who are in the purchasing mode.
Yep.
They've typed in a long tail phrase. I mean, they know exactly what they're looking for.
Yep.
So I would definitely optimize for those.
Absolutely. So I don't know. I guess we agree with 7 out of 10.
Yeah.
And partially agree with another 3.
So I'll say 50% total.
All right. So I still don't. I didn't get a chance to visit his website. His website is www.dougburson.com. The author is Tola Ajayi. Ajayi. Ajayi.
Yeah, we'll post it on Facebook. You can check it out, read it, tell us what you think about it. Got some blank stare.
All right, got some blank stare. Man, it's been a while since I did a blank stare.
Mm-hmm.
All right, here we go.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
A little blank stare with the smirk.
Yeah. I was a little angry in that one.
So check this out. This blank stare, and I feel kind of suspect about this one because I'm a GoDaddy user. This blank stare is at GoDaddy, right? So they were one of the big internet companies who actually sided with SOPA.
Right.
Stop Online Piracy Act, and all of the other, Google, Yahoo, and all these other big internet companies were against it. Well, all of the big internet companies they created the deal, move your domain name. And so they did the whole campaign. GoDaddy lost 70,000 domain names on that day. And so now they flip sides. Now they're against SOPA.
Wow.
So come on, GoDaddy. Is it about what you believe or is it about the money?
Wow, yeah. What do you think is actually going to be best for your users? Although if you have no users, it doesn't matter.
Exactly. That's why I say I'm kind of up against the fence because I use GoDaddy. I got like 9 domain names with them, 4 or 5 hosting accounts.
70,000 is like nothing for them, right? Aren't they hosting like 2 to 5 million websites or something? That's crazy. And I'm actually impressed that 70,000 people were motivated enough. It's a pain in the ass to
Well,
make a
but
website.
you realize, I met a guy, Ben. He owns a company called My Has Cheeseburger, right?
Right.
And so he actually tweeted that I'm moving 1,000 of my domains from GoDaddy.
Oh, the domains, not the hosting. Okay,
not the hosting, just the domains. And so you got people like him who have 1,000 domains with GoDaddy. Right?
They'll go fast, yeah.
So
that does make sense. Something else that probably could have been blank stare was the CEO of PayPal moving over and now running Yahoo. Did you hear about that this week?
I read about it, but I didn't complete the article.
Yeah, so apparently the CEO of PayPal has left PayPal and I think starts as CEO of Yahoo next week. And
good luck with that.
Yeah, I patch the holes quick. The ship is sinking. You patch a hole. You patch a hole. You patch everyone patch a hole. At the same point, there's a ton of Yahoo stores and they're making good residual on the actual orders and then on the hosting and everything. That company's
even though those stores suck, I hate when we get a client who has a Yahoo store and we have to
do something with it.
Yeah, I can't export a spreadsheet. Anyway, I'm off the soapbox.
Yeah.
But yeah, Yahoo, like I said, fantasy football. That's what I use them for. That's the only reason I have not deleted my Yahoo account because I play fantasy football, and I almost won the Super Bowl this year. And speaking of football, shout out to the punch in the face to the Texans. First playoff game tomorrow. Good luck.
Woohoo! Go Texans.
Yes, sir.
I'm a big fan of hockey. I use that every day. Anyone says something to me about a sports team, I was like, I don't watch hockey. And they just look at me like...
Bob McNair, owner of the Texans, he was trying to bring a hockey team from Houston to the NHL.
Right.
They got denied, and so he pursued football. Got the Texans.
So it's not wholly irrelevant. All right, you guys have been listening to the most popular SEO podcast on iTunes. That is because of you and you over there and you over in New Zealand. I know we have listeners in New Zealand. So send us an email. You can actually stalk us. How do you stalk us? Facebook.com/eWebstyle. Twitter.com/eWebstyle. YouTube.com/eWebstyle. And podcast at e-webstyle.com. Thank you guys so much for listening. Until the next podcast, I don't even think we said this. My name's Chris Burris, owner of eWebstyle. I'm Charles Lewis, your internet marketing specialist. Bye-bye for now. Somebody came on and said, did they start early? We've been starting late for a while.
You got my emails, Chris?
Which ones?
With the interview?
Oh, yeah, 2?
Yeah.
Yeah, good. Okay, cool. Thank you.
Oh, look, and that was one of the reviews.
Oh, yeah.
Tim Collins.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he was the one who did this starter. So it's
Check this out. So it's off screen there.
Big light.
It's off screen, but I won't have no audio though.
Should have audio.
I don't think it's live. Are you doing something in front of this monitor?
I did.
That's audio.
It does have audio, right?
Oh, okay. Now it does.
Oh, I think I just started playing it here. Check this out. Let me turn that off. I don't know if I applied that.